Is your ADHD keeping you up at night? Don't worry, you're not alone. Between 25 and 50% of people with ADHD have trouble sleeping. Let's unpack the complex relationship between ADHD and sleep and talk about how some simple lifestyle changes can vastly improve your sleep quality. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, or ADHD, involves symptoms of inattentiveness, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. ADHD symptoms usually begin during childhood, but will persist into adulthood. They can interfere with performance at school, work, and in social situations. Between 5 and 15% of children have ADHD, though some experts believe it's overdiagnosed. ADHD breaks into 3 types: hyperactive or impulsive, inattentive, or a combination of both. The hyperactive, impulsive type is more commonly diagnosed in young boys, about 2 to 9 times more often. Meanwhile, the inattentive type occurs equally across the board. We're not sure what causes ADHD, but it tends to run in families. There's also evidence that low birth weights, head trauma, and prenatal exposure to drugs and alcohol can trigger it. In adults, ADHD symptoms include difficulty completing tasks, mood swings, impatience, difficulty concentrating, and difficulty maintaining relationships. Hyperactivity usually manifests in fidgets rather than overt motor activity. I'd bet your friend with ADHD doesn't run around like a child, but they probably bounce their leg while sitting or drum on their desk. ADHD and sleep go hand in hand. It's just not the healthiest relationship. Right around puberty, children with ADHD struggle to fall asleep and stay asleep. They also experience shorter sleep times and are at a higher risk of developing a sleep disorder. The older they get, the more prevalent those sleep problems become. Sleep struggles in early childhood tend to increase future ADHD symptoms. How ADHD affects sleep depends on what kind of ADHD you have. Inattentive types tend to stay up later, whereas hyperactive, impulsive types have trouble falling asleep. It doesn't get better for combined types either, as they're more likely to experience poor sleep quality and later bedtimes. The relationship between ADHD and sleep disorders is a complicated one. Many researchers believe one causes the other, they just don't know which one came first. Dr. David Anderson, a clinical psychologist at the Child Mind Institute, calls it a classic chicken or the egg situation. At the end of the day, you're having trouble sleeping. So how do we know if it's ADHD or an underlying sleep disorder? If it's ADHD, it's likely due to impaired alertness, arousal, and regulation circuits in your brain. Research has also linked ADHD-related sleep problems with delayed circadian rhythms. They've also found that people with ADHD experience delays in melatonin production, the hormone that tells your body it's time for bed. Still, we've yet to find consistent correlations between sleep issues and people with ADHD, since some just don't have any trouble sleeping at all. Oddly, some people even have an easier time falling asleep due to the calming effects of their stimulant medications. Others can't keep their eyes shut. If that sounds like you, then it might not be the ADHD keeping you up. It might be an underlying sleep disorder. Studies have found that many of the most common sleep disorders pop up in the people with ADHD. Let's start with the big one: insomnia. For some with ADHD, nighttime offers the perfect opportunity to hyperfocus on a new project. The daytime distractions aren't there to, well, distract you anymore. Unfortunately, focusing on a new project makes it harder to settle down. You might stay up past your ideal bedtime and have trouble falling asleep. This is when insomnia rears its ugly face. As insomnia persists, you may associate bedtime with stress and anxiety. Heightened nighttime activity can also throw off your circadian rhythm, leading to what's called delayed sleep phase syndrome, or DSPS. DSPS makes it harder to fall asleep at night, thus causing tiredness, confusion, and a lack of alertness in the morning. Studies have linked smaller pineal glands, body clock irregularities, and delayed melatonin release to DSPS, especially for people with ADHD. About 1/3 of people with ADHD also struggle with snoring and sleep apnea. Both could be the reason you're not sleeping well at night. Do you experience a tingling sensation in your legs at night? Is it super distracting or impossible to fall asleep? Then you might have restless leg syndrome, or RLS. About 50% of people with ADHD report having RLS or another type of periodic limb movement disorder. Bottom line, if you fidget when you're awake, you likely fidget in your sleep. Narcolepsy is when things can get dangerous. People with narcolepsy will randomly fall asleep during the day, which is dicey when it comes to driving a car or operating machinery. Narcoleptic adults are also twice as likely to have experienced ADHD symptoms as a child. The link isn't clear as day, but researchers believe the sleepiness caused by narcolepsy can provoke ADHD symptoms. If ADHD and other sleep problems keep you up at night, then we have good news for you. A few simple interventions can vastly improve sleep, ADHD symptoms, and the effects of any medication. The most important thing you can do is stick to a concrete bedtime routine. Avoid nighttime sugar, alcohol, and caffeine, and put your screens away about an hour before bed. As it gets later, stick to calming activities like reading or warm baths. Do your best to avoid anything overstimulating. Your bedroom must be a stress-free zone. Sleep and sex only. Clear the clutter, invest in some blackout curtains, and try using a white noise machine to block out distracting noise. Finally, make sure you're going to sleep and waking up at the same time every day. Let your body clock do what it does best. If you struggle with getting up in the morning, try using light therapy to trick your brain into suppressing melatonin production. Light therapy mimics the sunlight, which is crucial to waking you up in the morning. Sleep medication may not be the best for people with ADHD. Instead, you can talk to your doctor about adding supplements like melatonin gummies to your bedtime routine. Sleep and ADHD don't have the best relationship, but you probably knew that already. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, talk with your doctor to see if there's an underlying sleep disorder. Sleep apnea, insomnia, and RLS are all super common in people with ADHD. But don't worry, you're still in control. A few quick lifestyle changes are the keys to unlocking better sleep. Go to bed and get up at the same time every day. Avoid late night overstimulation, and try reading a book instead of scrolling through your phone before bed. And if you want to see exactly how your phone is ruining your sleep, check out our video all about that right here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Sleep well.